Deadpool and Wolverine is the latest of Marvel's multiverse saga, a collection of films dead set on showing you things you remember, like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, or things that fans have been asking for a long time, like John Krasinski, Mr. Fantastic. These little moments or character inclusions are usually lumped together as something called fan service, and Deadpool and Wolverine is a masterclass in fan service. I won't spoil anything specific right now since the movie just came out, but with Deadpool traveling around the multiverse to find a new Wolverine, there are bound to be cameos and fun crowd-pleasing moments. So Deadpool and Wolverine makes this work because the fan service actually lends itself to the plot and the story of the film. Wolverine's suit, for instance, is an element that makes fans happy, especially when he puts that cowl on, and it's important for his character. The cameos that we see, for the most part, have stuff to do and are actual characters. Now, this could have easily been The Flash, where you randomly see past on-screen versions of characters, but no, the surprise characters in Deadpool and Wolverine are actual characters done with moderate respect. It is a comedy, and you know what? That actually goes a long way to sell a lot of these fan service moments. Like, the primary function is to tell a joke, and it works beautifully. And I don't know if some of this stuff would play as well in a typical Marvel movie like Multiverse of Madness. Also, the reason we are seeing all these characters together makes sense. Compared to the framing device of something like No Way Home, Deadpool and Wolverine is much more appreciated. They use a previously established mechanic with the TVA and the Void from the Loki show. It just makes sense. So now I'm sure you're wondering, do these fan service moments like overshadow the actual story of the movie? Yeah, they totally do. You can really tell this thing was cobbled together out of a writer's strike, but overall it's still a fun Deadpool comedy. Deadpool and Wolverine to me felt like a steak with a lot of fat and not a lot of meat.
Oh, literally.
That's literally what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
You liked it though, you loved it.
Oh, I loved it, but I love me a lot of fat on my steak.
Yeah,
I
that's
get
what
the
I'm
ribeye,
saying.
dude. There's like half fat, half meat.
It's an apt metaphor because both of us love fatty steaks and we love sort of, it's like this whole thing kind of felt like, without spoilers by the way, this whole thing kind of felt like a fan project where they just throw as much as possible in there. I just was expecting maybe a little bit more because the past two Deadpool movies were really like good because they were funny and they had the fourth wall breaks and they were like, they had this heart and like story along with it, which I don't think this last one had.
You don't think so?
No, I mean we could talk about it a little more. You tell me about what you liked about it before, without spoilers.
Without spoilers?
Yeah.
Man, that's gonna be hard. The fourth wall breaks were great. They were just, chef's kiss. The introduction of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine into it, I think, was really good. I liked how they balanced that. There's like a whole montage that they did really well with, getting Hugh Jackman into the right universe kind of thing that I really liked. This is hard to do without spoilers.
Yeah, I would just say go see it if you're a fan of Deadpool. If you're a big fan of the MCU, if you've seen every MCU project, you're probably going to need that extra knowledge.
Yeah.
A lot of times they don't have like that stuff required, but in this it felt like it was required, like you needed some more
just
stuff.
Because he references everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's just the fourth wall breaks.
Also, you need to be super familiar with the Fox X-Men movies, which Hugh Jackman was the Wolverine in those.
I think you just need to understand that it's a lot like with Deadpool 1 and 2. He would make reference, like McAvoy or Stewart. That means you had to watch both sets of X-Men. You know what I mean?
I guess.
He's definitely been a referencer to things you're going to have watched already.
There's a lot of, before we get into spoilers, there's a lot of like fourth wall breaks about like studio stuff. Like there's projects that didn't get off the ground and projects that are in trouble and projects that, like even like at one point he says like, I'm going to Disneyland. And I don't think it's a spoiler, but like, he's breaking the fourth wall heavy. I think this kind of transition from from Fox to Disney did kind of like inform a lot of this movie.
And there's even a bit where he goes, like, we're coming in at the low point of Marvel, I'm pretty sure. And then another guy's like, I don't know, I think everything after Endgame is pretty great.
Yeah, I bet you. And I thought I was laughing at that, but I'm like, I bet that was a studio note that was like, well, we probably should have the.
Yeah, we should probably acknowledge the fact that
Anyway, okay, so I think we're gonna do some spoilers. I would watch it. I would say go watch it. It's good enough to see in theaters for sure.
Yeah, I think Hopper gave it a 6 or 7.
I think 6.5 is where I landed after.
I gave it a straight up 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So I love.
He likes the fat on the steak. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's so good.
It's really like a cupcake with a little bit of cake and a lot of icing.
Yeah, but if you look at any other review, they say go watch it for the Ryan Reynolds Hugh Jackman team up that you want with the action and the fun. Don't go watch it for.
It is a very fun movie. It's funny. It's a big action romp. I would say watch it before you're about to go to bed. Like don't go in like tired like we did. I think that was
I wasn't tired in the slightest.
You stay up a lot later than I do.
Yeah. I will say one of my big gripes. Here's a non-spoiler. The main villain was very weak, very one-dimensional. Not a lot of depth to him.
Well, even like I think all the antagonists are kind of weak, which without giving any more away.
Yeah.
But that's part of the problem. But I think the main story was more about like the friendship of Logan and Deadpool. So
Yeah.
I see why they didn't focus too much time on the villain.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we're in big time spoilers, big all the time spoilers.
They're
Spoilers,
coming.
spoilers. This movie just came out. Go watch it if you haven't seen it.
Okay.
There's a lot of cameos in this movie.
There's so many cameos.
There's-
Way more than you would expect.
And this is what people wanted the Multiverse of Madness to be, and I don't think they expected it to be like so weird to mesh together.
Yeah. The female Deadpool was Blake Lively.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
The voice of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Didn't she say she wasn't playing her though?
I don't know.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. Anyway, a lot of Fox cameos from this. So we
Yes.
get the big ones being Johnny Storm from the Fantastic Four,
Oh my
as played
God,
by Chris
dude.
Evans,
Yeah.
which took me by surprise.
Everyone thought it was going to be Captain America, and he's like,
Yeah.
he's about to say, he goes, Avengers? And he goes, Flame on! And I would loved it. I loved it a lot.
There was a lot of stuff like that where like Deadpool knew exactly who every person was because I guess he's seen all the movies.
Yeah,
I don't know. He references Wesley Snipes' Blade. Like the whole thing about how Ryan Reynolds and Wesley Snipes didn't really get along in the third Blade movie.
It started with a text from Ryan Reynolds, and I was like, I hate this guy. No, this is a joke. We've been playing this for like 2 decades. We've actually liked each other the whole time.
Elektra is there. She kind of mentions, and she kind of does a little fourth wall break about how she didn't really care about Daredevil because they got divorced or something.
They got divorced, and she was like, I just want my ending because they gave her a movie that had like a big cliffhanger at the end or whatever.
Yeah. That was kind of their whole point. Like their universes felt like they had more to do, and they just didn't.
Yeah.
So I like that aspect of it, and we can talk more about fan service here in a second. But another big surprise cameo, Channing Tatum's Gambit,
Yes.
which must have had a bad accent on purpose.
Yeah.
It must have been like a joke. Like I don't know what that was about.
Because I've heard him do a southern accent in
he's from
Kingsman.
like Alabama, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like he's got a southern accent.
Yeah, Kingsman, he had a perfect southern drawl. You know what I mean?
But this is more like Remy LeBeau, like we're from the
Yeah.
Bayou, like.
But there were so many
New
jokes
Orleans.
with the fact that his movie never got off the ground because they're like, oh, I can't wait to finish my story. He's like, I'm pretty sure nobody knows about me.
Yeah.
I don't even know where I came from.
He's like, I might have been born here.
Yeah.
And this is the whole like MCU-ness of it. So they see all these cameos. The reason that these cameos are together is because they're in the end of Loki place. What do they call it?
It's called, they're calling it the Void in this. They didn't have a name for it in Loki.
Yeah.
But it's essentially the place at the very end of time where you just
Yeah.
dump things because they won't have a meeting for anywhere else.
This is as good a time as any to say, I don't really care about the TVA. I think it's kind of a dumb idea.
Yeah, I liked it in the sense of the Void or the Loki show, but afterwards, after Loki's done all that, the TVA seems very inconsequential because their
Yes.
whole point was to maintain one timeline.
Yes.
And so with all of these, there's no way a TVA is maintaining all that.
I agree.
Because
It
that's
doesn't
the
make sense
point
what they
of
do.
it. Yeah, that's the point of the multiverse is it's uncontrollable,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So the TVA as a whole shouldn't even exist anymore.
And like the villain in this, one of the villains, he's like this kind of posh British guy that's like, well, we're going to start clipping timelines again. Like I'd kill timelines when an anchor being goes away.
Yeah, that was a new thing made
Yeah.
up. Didn't like that much.
That was just sort of, I think that was just their point of like, we need a Wolverine. So that was
Yeah.
like their way to get Hugh Jackman's Wolverine back.
And for Deadpool to care.
Yes. Well, Deadpool's universe is going to explode or go under. I guess he was technically. I didn't know if they were going with this because we see 2 different Colossuses. Like the Colossus from X-Men 3 is different from the Colossus from
Yeah.
Deadpool. So I didn't know if it was like this is its own kind of offshoot. Like a lot of stuff's different, but it's Deadpool. He's going to joke about it anyway.
Yeah.
I guess technically this was in the Fox X-Men universe, which
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the beginning scene is pretty funny. We'll kind of reach back to that, but so. The whole plot really is that they're trying to save their universe. My biggest gripe too, now that we're in spoilers, I didn't like that there was like no Deadpool characters in it. It was just Deadpool, and we had like Peter in it for a second.
Yeah.
He had more screen time than like Baccarin did. What was her name?
Marina Baccarin.
Marina Baccarin.
Yeah.
She was the whole heart of the movie. She was basically
the first 2 movies were about their relationship.
Yeah, like in the second one was this beautiful kind of dissection of like he lost her and he has to kind of get revenge, but he also has to save the kid from kind of falling into what he's going through and all that stuff. Good movie, great movie. I didn't get like a lot of that heart with this one. It just felt like more so we're doing this to make people laugh and do cameos and kind of close out the Fox universe for once and for all kind of thing.
Yeah. Which I think it did well.
It did do
They
that
had a
stuff
good
well.
eulogy at the end with the credits and stuff too.
Yeah, the hope you had the time of your life.
And they were just showing a bunch of Fox behind the scenes stuff.
Which is fun. It's very fun. And I enjoy, because we like those movies. We grew up with those movies.
Absolutely.
So obviously it's going to touch our hearts a little bit, but I don't know. Like maybe do it with like a scaled down version. Maybe just do, and maybe don't do all the Loki stuff. I don't know whose idea that was to like keep the TVA going. Maybe just don't do that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. And Deadpool didn't have like an arc. Like they said like, oh, he doesn't care about anyone but himself. Like that's his whole thing, and he's got to learn to care about something bigger than himself.
Yeah.
He tries to go to the Avengers, and he's like, I need you guys, and they're like, well, the Avengers don't come together because they need it. It's because people need them to save. People need the Avengers to save them, essentially. Yeah. So that was the whole arc of it, but like. That felt like it was something we covered in the first two movies. Like this is a regression at that point.
Yeah, because he's like seeking self-validation. He's already gotten that in the past two movies, you know.
And I don't know. I mean, it was like I said, it was a good movie. It's fun to watch, but like I had some issues. It's not like a black and white bad or good. It was it was a good movie that I enjoyed watching. Yeah. But I had some issues with. It was sort of like Spider-Man: Homecoming. No. Spider-Man: No Way Home. Yeah. Where people turned on it very quickly. I don't know if you noticed that on Twitter and stuff. But.
Yeah, I tried to just ignore them because to me that's the best piece of Marvel we've gotten since Endgame.
Well, see, that's another one where like I think the stake is bigger on that one, but there's still a lot of fat on it. You know what I mean? Like there's still a lot of fan service. Essentially, is what that's the fan service in this. Like it's very enjoyable, but it's really stupid. Like the way they do the whole memory thing and like Doctor Strange is involved. All that's kind of dumb, but it's just kind of like a framing device to have all your Spider-Men together, which we love, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that I think was better because it was a payoff. It was like a lead up and payoff at the end.
Yeah, you still had growth for Peter.
Yeah. Peter learns the whole.
He ends up becoming Spider-Man.
Yeah, and he makes. I mean, he's like typical Spider-Man too. He's like poor. He's living in an apartment. He's
he's got no friends.
Made his own suit and stuff. Yeah. So. That I would have liked a little bit more of that in this, I think. Mm-hmm. So I'm still on board with No Way Home. I think this one could have learned from that a little bit.
Maybe, yeah. But the highs of this movie are really good. The chemistry between Wolverine and Deadpool is just phenomenal. The
chemistry's there. I know like most people probably won't have this problem because it's just kind of hand wave it as like this is Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. It's the Hugh Jackman Wolverine we've always known. It's not though. It's a different universe as Hugh Jackman. Wolverine.
You're making this really hard for me.
Why?
I remember we were talking about this on the way home from the movies. Yeah. And I was just like, God, you were making me so mad. And I was just like yelling at you and stuff. And I was like, okay, we're talking about this. I need to be more calm and collected. Everything you're saying though is pissing me off.
That's what I'm saying. I hate you.
Yeah, and I hate you.
No, I hate when I've got like a grayish issue about something. Steven it's like a Sith Lord. He's like, oh, it's either good or bad. It's absolutes. There's no in between.
Well, it's also the fact that I say, oh, I love this, and you go, well, it's not actually as good as you think it is. And I'm like, yes, it is.
Yeah, I mean, we can say like I like the movie. I didn't dislike the movie. It was just a lot of shit in it that didn't need to be in it, or a lot of stuff that just didn't make sense, or a lot of stuff that was like just took too long.
What did you like about it? You say you liked the movie. What did you like about it?
I liked how funny it was. I liked the Deadpool aspects of it. Deadpool's the main part of the movie. He's half the movie essentially. He's main part of the movie. I love the beginning when it starts off.
That whole opening bit was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was very funny. They have
NSYNC or is it Backstreet Boys?
It's one of the two. I don't know. It's bye bye bye, and he's like doing the dances in between. Like
he's just killing brutally.
He's killing people with the dead body of Wolverine from his universe with just like adamantium bones. That's such a funny way to be like. They even say he's like, I would never tarnish the legacy of Logan for another crappy sequel. He's even just talking directly to the audience, and he goes, yes, I would. And he gets like a little shovel. He starts digging him up, and he's like, Wolverine can't die. He's got this healing factor. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's like, you guys don't even know. He's probably just laying down there waiting for someone to unbury him.
It's just a skeleton.
And he starts hitting it with a shovel and stuff.
So that was extremely funny. That whole bit, and it's such a good. Like I was smiling the whole time. I was like, oh, that's a great way to do it. I didn't like when they just like pulled him out of his universe and they took him to the TVA and they're just like, okay, we want you to work for us because we're going to destroy your universe. It's like,
also, who made the call that Deadpool was the only one important from that universe that he could go to 616? You know what I mean?
I think
that was never explored.
I think Daphne Keene's X-23 also had that privilege because she's in the void with everybody at the end.
But it's not explained. You know what I mean?
It's not explained. Do they explain how Blade or Elektra or Gambit get there? You know?
No.
So it's just one of those.
Makes sense why he's in there though. Channing Tatum's Gambit, because we all know who the real Gambit is.
Taylor Knitsch or whatever.
Yeah.
They could have done like a little throwaway gag of him
so much.
Maybe actual Gambit kills him or something.
Yeah. No, he is actual Gambit.
No, he's not actual Gambit.
Yes,
you like him?
Is.
I don't like him very much.
I love him. As we were watching the first X-Men last night, and she goes, oh, wait, what about that X-Men Origins movie? Or she said, what about this? And I said, oh, that's X-Men Origins Wolverine. She goes, oh, I love that movie. I said, me too. And she goes, really? I said, yeah, everyone hates it. It's a bad movie. He goes, it's a bad movie? I said, yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you like it, though. It's Steven notoriously has very silly taste in movies.
I have very amazing taste in movies, and Hopper's just a negative Nancy.
I mean, everyone in the comments will agree with you that X-Men Origins Wolverine is the best one.
It is. If they don't agree with me, unsubscribe.
Don't do that, please.
I
I'm
was
still
like,
here.
Please, get so hard.
Please, I'm begging you. Don't subscribe. No, it's an interesting take, though. I mean, X-Men Origins Wolverine is where Deadpool and Logan met the first time.
Yeah.
And I don't think they really go through how that all factors into the timeline. I know Deadpool goes and shoots himself in the head at the end.
Yeah.
So
I do like, too, like, when he first interacts with the TVA, he's like, "This is all that time hopping we did." TVA's like, "No, we don't care about that." And he's like, "Oh, really?" Like, that's the thing you should be caring about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He changed just so much.
He changed a lot.
Also, I don't understand how he went to 616.
I guess he must have had Cable's machine or something.
But he had a
at the time.
time machine. He didn't have a universe hopping machine.
I don't know. They didn't explain it. Why would they explain it? They never
Yeah.
explain it. Yeah.
But
It's just it's a funny bit. That's the whole thing. It's a funny bit to have in the
so
movie.
you don't like the relationship between Wolverine and Deadpool?
No, I like that relationship. I wish it was actual Wolverine though. I wish it was.
It is for all intents and purposes.
No, it's not because he has a whole different arc in this. Like his arc is like I'm evil and I killed all my buddies by not saving them.
He wasn't evil. He was just uncaring.
Well, I think he just felt bad. He was self-loathing about it because he
Yeah.
was like he reveals way late in the movie, and I know that's like Deadpool makes fun of that. He's like, you want to go ahead and get this over with and tell me what's wrong, or you want to wait for a shoddy third act
exposition or something like
flashback
that.
or something like that. So like they basically say he was at the bar drunk while a bunch of humans.
Which he should be able to get drunk.
That's a good point too. I guess
There's a healing factor.
Yeah. But he does get drunk a lot. You know, it's one of his core.
There's
mechanics.
one part he drinks and then passes out.
I guess he drinks so much that it overrides the healing factor.
There's just no. His healing factor is insane.
They didn't think about it. It's okay. But they he's drunk at the bar and he comes back and then the humans have killed him. I assumed Sentinels killed him because he knows how to like use the Sentinel boot later on.
Yeah, because he said the humans came and I was like, okay, killed them.
Yeah.
I don't know what the humans did to the X-Men.
Why doesn't Professor Xavier just like time freeze him and stop him?
Yeah,
or
like
something?
what's going on here?
Why doesn't Jean Grey just throw him out the window? You know.
Exactly. So
Anyway, but so that's one thing. I did like his arc though because he gets to interact with X-23 Laura. Laura, right?
I think so. Yeah.
And she kind of has this nice moment. Like that's a beautiful moment where they're sitting at the fire and he's kind of just talking to her, and it's like essentially a daughter he's never had, and he's like, "I'm not that guy," and she goes, "My Logan wasn't that guy either. You're never that guy."
Yeah.
It's like a beautiful moment. you
Yeah.
know what I
Until
mean?
you're the guy, you're not that guy.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just like he was never meant for that, but he had to step into that role and everything.
Yeah. Comic accurate Hugh Jackman, by the way, or Wolverine.
Yeah, there's
He's
a part.
like 5'3", 5'4".
I loved that montage so much.
Oh,
where
it was so good.
It's Deadpool trying. He's like, okay, well, our anchor person is gone, so I'm gonna go to different universes and find a Wolverine to bring back here to save the universe.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think it's how it works.
No,
but
it's not.
It's okay.
But I love seeing every iteration of Wolverine.
You get like the '90s mullet Wolverine. He just like throws him into a wall. We get like the original Wolverine with the brown suit and the yellow suit, and he's fighting the Hulk. That was really
That's
fun
so
reveal.
good. I didn't understand the Wolverine that's up on a cross
Big
looking
X
thing
cross. I think that's
with a bunch of skulls.
I think that's a comic reference. I don't know.
It's
I'm
gotta
not
be. I just don't know it.
not a huge X-Men comic fan, so I don't really
Yeah,
know. But
yeah.
like that's something you probably see in a comic. You know,
Probably.
There's a lot of stuff like that though.
You get Henry Cavill's in Wolverine.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. His voice for it. He would have been a good Wolverine.
He would have been a good Wolverine, and I think there's
I mean,
probably
he still could probably.
Yeah, who's to say that wasn't just the 616?
Yeah.
It wasn't. I
It
don't think it was. But no, he's good. Like even Deadpool's kind of glazing him. He's like, oh,
We saw
you're
Old
so
Man Logan.
Yeah, Old Man Logan shoots him with a shotgun kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of fun little references. That kind of stuff was really satisfying for fans. I think a bunch of fans probably like that stuff.
Yeah.
And especially since we haven't seen like any kind of comic accurate suit for Wolverine in the past couple decade.
Ever.
20 years? How long has
We've
it been?
never seen a comic accurate.
Yeah.
X-Men suit.
He's worn like black leather for the most part, which is like
Yeah.
a big point of sticking for the fans. No one
Yeah.
really likes that.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple people saying like, "Oh, it's more realistic for that," but it's not realistic, is it?
That was
It's
the thing.
superhero
Watching
movies.
the X-Men, the original X-Men came out in the year 2000. They tried to go way too realistic with it.
Yeah.
Everything I watched, I was just like, even Storm's powers, they were trying to do more with.
Yeah.
So real. And also, they were like at the end, they're like, Storm fry him because he was talking to Magneto while they're on this thing. He goes, I thought you guys went to a school. You should be putting electricity in a big ball of copper.
Yeah.
It's like, she has power over the weather. Drop hail balls the size of minivans on him.
Why don't you get a tornado to suck him out of there?
Yeah, like what?
Suck him
What
like
do
he's
you
never been
mean?
sucked before.
Big facts. So, but yeah, watching that, and that's what's so crazy is Hugh Jackman has been Wolverine for 24 years.
Yeah.
You know,
It's good casting too. Like I know a lot of people
like
were
he
hesitant when he
created
first
that
started.
character. You know what I mean?
In the movies, at least for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think he had a lot of like interpretations of it too. And He like his company did a bunch of stuff. Like he made a company to do like Origins and maybe like the Wolverine too. I was reading something about that.
Was him?
Yeah, it was like he had a company to produce it and stuff.
Oh, that's crazy.
But it was cool. I think Hugh Jackman wanted to do this as well. Like he was the
absolutely.
one. Like after Deadpool, he's like, oh, Wolverine's got to interact with this guy on screen. But he had just killed off.
Yeah,
Wolverine
it literally
and
had just happened. Literally the next year, we got confirmation that Fox had been bought by Disney, and we're like, you just killed Wolverine. You just killed him.
Which it's fine, like that's
Yeah.
fine. Like this movie didn't take away from Logan like in the slightest.
It's also crazy too. Fox, I guess, acquired by Disney around like 2018, and we're just now starting to see that.
Yeah, that's
in
true.
the movies. You know,
We've gotten a couple like nods to X-Men stuff, like in the Miss Marvel show and stuff like that. But nothing. I guess Multiverse of Madness had Professor X in it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But nothing like over the top.
nothing
crazy.
to where they're integrated. You know?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Which is crazy that we're gonna start getting it now.
Do you think? Here's what I think is going to happen, and I think this might have already been confirmed. I don't know or not. I mean, and this could be a spoiler. I don't know. But in Secret Wars, the last Avengers movie, I think they're going to pull in a bunch of those characters. So you're probably going to see Wesley Snipes' Blade again. You're probably going to see Elektra again. You're probably going to see whoever. And I think Wolverine comes back in that. Hugh Jackman Wolverine comes back in that. And I think after that, we just clean slate. We just go clean.
Yeah, I think they're going to
everyone's
soft
new.
reboot it.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that. I will just watch superhero movies.
Yeah.
As long as you make them, I'll watch them. That's what I love to watch. I will watch anything animated. You know, the Batman show's coming out. My Adventure with Superman. If it's a superhero thing, until the day I die, I will be watching it.
Because you're a patsy.
Patsy. No, I'm just a fan. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're a hater.
I am a hater, certified. I will say the Deadpool stuff was really fun, like the Deadpool core, like all that stuff.
Oh, I
was fun.
love that.
We get Nice Pool, who has Dog Pool, and that whole thing just cracked me up. It was my favorite part of the Nice Pool stuff. He's like, I can lightly tap the fourth wall too, and he just looks at the camera and he goes, the proposal. Like he's not very good at it, you know.
Deadpool was like, is that the f*** you think I do?
And they're just like, oh, why don't you wear a mask? And he goes, guys, come on,
You see this?
come on.
He's like, how fast do you regenerate? He goes, oh, you regenerate? Oh, man.
That's sad.
No, but it's so good, too, because you have this question, because we saw, well, you haven't watched Aquaman 2, but Jason Momoa just refused to work out. He did not want to get that same body as before, so they kept a shirt on him the entire time. So it looks like you're going to have the same thing with Hugh Jackman, where, he looked kind of ripped, and we've seen workout stuff, but they never took his shirt off. And Deadpool's like, he's not really kept himself up since the divorce kind of thing. But then at the very end, when they're both making that big sacrifice, they rip the shirt off, unedited, un-CGI, just Hugh Jackman, just raw muscled shit. And I was just like, okay.
It might have been a little edited. I don't know.
It looked a little old up. But I think that was pure muscle. I try not to doubt it anymore ever since I saw that Nicolas Cage thing where he got ripped for Ghost Rider, and he says everyone accused me of using a fake suit or whatever. So I said, what's the point in never doing it again? So from now on, I'm just going to take it. He probably worked out for that.
Yeah, they get trainers and stuff. Like these big Hollywood movies are very like intensive. You know?
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff with Wolverine in this though. He has the best arc. I mean, he has the arc. I don't think Deadpool really goes through much.
CGI was a little rough on that first fight with him and Deadpool.
CGI was a little wonky in a couple places. Like the lady Cassandra Nova, who we haven't mentioned yet. She's like the main villain of the movie. She's like the ruler of the void or whatever.
Very uneventful villain. Don't really care for her that much.
Yeah, she felt like Hela, where it was like, oh, this is a great villain, and she has a lot of great potential, but we just don't do much with her.
Yeah. And she's even worse than Hela in the fact that she's like, I'm just evil. I was here when I was born, and now I'm just a bad person.
Yeah, she's just been shaped by the void, I guess. And they keep saying like, oh yeah, she can put us back in the right place in time, but like she does like a space portal with the Doctor Strange stuff, and I guess she has the power to send them back in time.
Because the void is a time thing. It's not an alternate universe.
Yeah. So even like the universe stuff, they wouldn't be able to do with the circle. So it's one of those just kind of like, okay, this works. I think they were like, this is an in-game portal. Like this, he even said like, this is an in-game portal or a Marvel portal or something like that.
Yeah.
But she's okay. Like I don't dislike her. If they did more with her, it should be good. If she was like the main guy,
she just didn't have enough depth to her. Yeah,
and I think they tried giving her some where it was like Charles would have loved you. He would have moved heaven and earth if he knew you existed. He would have came and got you and stuff. And, And they put Juggernaut's helmet on her to stop her. She gets shot, but she can fix her. What are her powers? What are Cassandra Nova's powers?
I don't know. She said she's like Charles, but she has to touch people to do it. But then she also has like telekinesis where she'll rip people's skin off. Yeah. Rip Johnny.
Yeah, rip Johnny. That was a funny scene.
Yeah. I love the end credits too. He's like, no, he said this shit. I've got it on camera.
No, but she's okay. The way she was putting her fingers through people, like it looked a little wonky at CGI.
I don't know. I think that looked a lot better than when Hugh Jackman got on all fours and was like running down Deadpool.
Yeah, that looked a little rough. But I think that was just like they might have had him like on a rig or something, and he was going. I don't know if it
Yeah.
was CG, but there was a weird bit of CG where they jump out of the bus. You remember that when they're beating up the Deadpools?
Yeah, it was so bad. It
Like,
was so bad.
It was noticeable, and then Deadpool's like he's just like joking, and Wolverine's just kind of sitting there like doing an idle pose.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
The whole idle pose looked bad.
Looked pretty bad, but they had him covered in a mask, so they didn't have to do a.
Yeah. Oh, I love the mask though too.
Let's talk about the outfit. Do you like the outfit?
I love the outfit.
I thought it was perfect,
Perfect.
down to the very last detail.
Perfect. I like Deadpool's new outfit. I like the brighter
Yeah.
color to it.
Yeah.
You know,
It was sort of like Marvelized.
it was definitely. I was about to say MCUified.
There was he's like in the TVA chambers, like getting changed, like with the new Deadpool outfit, and the guy's like putting him together, and he's like grabbing his crotch and smacking his butt a bunch of times.
So much, dude.
And I was like, oh, that's a funny little bit they're never going to mention again. And then he comes out and he's like, the new suit is great. I love it. The guy who was doing it, probably a predator.
Yeah, you need to talk to him or something.
Funniest crap.
And then the guy's like, I'm calling HR. There's no way you can be this attractive. Like, you're turning me on. And I don't consent to it.
What else? What are the funny part? What are the funniest part in this for you?
I don't know. I really like the opening scene. I think I could rewatch the opening scene like 20 times.
Yeah, it was great.
The Deadpool fight was really fun. The whole
Deadpool core.
Yeah. I liked Sabretooth's little nod in here.
Yeah, that was fun. We get okay. So we didn't mention all the cameos in the Void, dude. We got all the
So we got
X-Men
Sabretooth,
people.
we got Toad, we have the Nail Lady.
Lady Deathstrike.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have potential Psylocke from X-Men 3 that
Potential?
wasn't even named.
It looked like she had some kind of solid stuff going on. We also
Yeah.
got the Juggernaut from
Juggernaut.
X-Men 3.
A lot of X-Men, original X-Men, like,
Yeah,
nods
just kind of like
in the
random
Void.
cast members. You know?
Yeah.
I guess they would just survive, and that's why I think the fan service is actually good in this, is because, you know, it's not like Star Wars, like Return of the Jedi or Return
Yeah.
of the Skywalker. What is it called? Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
The last one. They had all this stuff at the very end, and it just felt like it was like tacked on and weird and not really, you know. But this is like it integrates into the story. We get like a plausible explanation for this. Like in game, it's sort of like, okay, it's all this fan service and this great stuff, but it's like what? Like it's just like a bunch of like every character we've seen essentially comes out. Not as believable as just like, oh yeah, these people were just like forgotten about and thrown into this void.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why we have like a random collection, because some people have died, some people have stayed.
Pyro's one of them.
Pyro's one of them. We get and he kind of sucks out the fire out of Johnny Storm, which
Yeah,
is
that
weird.
was crazy.
It's cool though. I guess that makes sense. in
Yeah, it makes a
continuity.
lot of sense.
And then we also get just like nods to like the Punisher. There was the Russian with like the red and white stripes from the Punisher movie. They say the Punisher died. Like the Electra's group has said like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
the Punisher was here and he died.
Blade goes, man, we got a bunch of Punishers. Only one Blade. Only ever going to be one Blade. And Deadpool just looked at the camera. But Deadpool's like, I can't argue with him because honestly, we don't know what's going on with that film.
That's really funny. I was laughing my ass off that whole thing.
Yeah.
Did these need to be the cameos though? I mean, I really enjoyed the cameos that we got, but did they need to like? Did it matter?
I think it's
that they
like
were
you
those
said, it
characters?
was like a send off to Fox's universe. You know,
Yeah.
it's like a good eulogy. So bring in as many Fox characters as you can.
I think, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if this story didn't have the cameos and the characters, like if it was a completely different thing, and like you didn't know, and I know that's what it is. Like that's what you're going to see is the Marvel /
Yeah.
Disney Fox merger references, whatever. If it was like a completely different story about someone with like a mercenary who has to go save his universe because of this whatever,
Yeah.
I don't think it holds up at all.
And here's the thing too, their world was falling apart because their anchor person died. But every other world, if it's not Wolverine, who is it? Because everyone dies unless
Yeah.
they have immortality. You know what I mean? Let's say 616 is either Tony Stark or Captain America, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be one of those two.
Probably.
Die.
But even then, right? It's like that's completely meta because the 616, the really like 1999999,
Yeah.
whatever it is. That universe has existed long before we got Tony Stark or Captain America. So why is it tied to one person?
Yeah,
You know what I
it
mean?
doesn't make sense.
Like the universe doesn't just start in like 2008 whenever Iron Man starts.
Yeah.
It obviously had, but we have prequels and stuff now. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
exactly. So I don't understand. Again, another hole in the anchor thing.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
I did like one of my favorite jokes in this because Deadpool breaks the fourth wall, but he's never like aggressive with it. I mean, he is, but he's never like physical. Like he's like whatever the TVA people tell him. They want him to come to the main timeline, the sacred timeline.
Yeah, 616.
He's like, whoa! And he give me 1 second. He goes to the camera and he grabs the boom mic and he goes, "Suck it, Fox! I'm going to Disneyland." And he like breaks the camera with his head.
Yeah, and
That
he throws
was-
it on the ground, stomps on it and stuff.
That was the funniest part to me. I was like, "Oh my god, I did not expect
Dude,
him
it was so
to hit
violent.
the camera." You know?
Yeah. Oh, I loved it.
Anyway, Yeah, I don't have much more to say, but I think
No.
I think
the fan service was good, and I think they did sacrifice some story beats for the fan service.
Yeah.
I don't think I disliked it as much as you did in that aspect, but I could see where you were coming from with that kind of thing.
I was watching it and I was really enjoying the first couple bits of it, but when we got to that like void and it was just like stuff happening, and even like later on towards like whenever the X-23, Elektra, Blade, whenever they go start taking out all the old X-Men people, I'm just like, am I old? Am I getting old where I just prefer like a nice story? Am I just like, what's happening here? Why am I upset? If this happened maybe like 6 years ago, it would have been the best thing I've ever seen. You know what I mean? I would be praising the crap out of it.
Yeah.
I think I'm just getting old and dumb.
Yeah. I believe it.
So go watch this movie though. It's fun.
It's
Go see it
really
in
good,
theaters.
really phenomenal.
Especially if you're a big fan of the X-Men Fox stuff. Like there's a lot of that referenced in here.
And if you just want to go see Deadpool and Wolverine, but you're gonna get a lot of it.
I worry that because this movie already made like a bunch of money.
Oh,
I'm not gonna. Maybe I'll put it in here at the time of upload. But like I just I think you'd need a lot of exposition from the Marvel and the Fox stuff to know like what this
it was
is.
definitely an adventurous movie that they didn't fully plan out.
Yeah.
They could have done it better. It probably could have been a two-parter.
It's felt like it was specifically for people like us who have seen every single thing.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Feige like just wrote out a whole list of things. He's like, well, we got to have Blade mentioned, we got to do Daredevil something, but we don't want to get
See, I don't even feel like it's Kevin Feige. I think Ryan Reynolds really took the reins on a lot of this because I think Ryan Reynolds has his finger on the pulse, knowing what people want.
Yeah.
That's why his movies are. That's why his first two Deadpool movies were so successful because he knows what the audience wants out of a Deadpool movie. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think he just knows the character too,
Yeah.
and but Kevin Feige, you can't say Kevin Feige didn't have stuff to do with it. He was involved for a lot of that Fox X-Men stuff too, you know.
Yeah, it's true.
So I mean, props to him. It was very fun to watch for us. I worry if the general public's going to get most of it, which I'm sure someone involved knows something about Marvel.
Yeah.
I just imagine like an older person who was like, now what's happened? Now is that from something else? Like, because
Yeah.
or
it could be a younger person problem who hasn't watched those.
Fair. I remember like whenever I was trying to keep my mom up with it and stuff, I'd be like, okay, well that's Thor. He came in Thor and he was in the Avengers and he like lost his eye, and I like we were watching Endgame or whatever. I'm like, I had to tell her like every character because she like didn't get all the stuff, and I'm like, I can just imagine that happening in the theater. Someone just whispering to their boyfriend or whatever, like, now what's happening here? Like, who is that guy? Did we know? Is that supposed to be like a reveal?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But no, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good overall. I think
Yeah,
it was
I
a fun, definitely a fun popcorn movie experience.
It's a good summer blockbuster movie for sure.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think of it? Let us know in the comments down below if you have watched it. If you haven't watched it, go watch it this week. Come back to this.
You shouldn't have gotten spoiled. Yeah, if you hadn't watched it.
People
Yet.
don't really care. My buddy Brody, shout out to him. He was like, "Oh, I already looked up all the cameos."
Dumb.
He said Emma Stone was in it. I was like, I don't remember seeing Emma Stone anywhere. He goes, "Oh, she was in the credits."
What would she have been doing? She wouldn't.
I have no idea.
That would
I
be like a
was gonna look
Sony
back
thing.
into it. Yeah, I have no idea.
Maybe that was a fake spoiler thing.
It could have been
that's
because
put
they did
around.
plan a lot of fakes too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that wraps about it. If you want to see other movie reviews, we have like Godzilla and Dune over here on the the left side of the screen. If you want to see more of our classic Ben 10 stuff, that's over here on the right side of the screen. And subscribe in the middle, and we will see you next time.
Bye bye.